Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sheyi Fabi. I want to apologize for being away for some time, being offline for some time. It was due to some work engagements and I had to travel to my base for some time. But now I'm back, and this season we are going to look at the use of GIS for urban administration, or GIS in urban management, in city management. This platform is a platform to discuss, to train, to teach on geographic information systems, including remote sensing and other systems. Today, we are looking at enterprise GIS for urban administration. Enterprise GIS for urban administration. We will not go into defining GIS because we have done that one in our series, in our lecture series earlier. But now we are looking at how we can use GIS for management of cities. It is so sad that many of our cities are still being managed by paper administration, exchanges of papers and maps and development plans. And most of these plans are not properly taken care of. They are not properly kept. Lesson that if you are looking for plan that was approved 10 years ago, you cannot find them in our planning offices, except few towns. I was in Ghana and I was trying to understand their planning systems, and I discovered that most of them still rely on paper plan submission. But urban administration, urban management, city management can benefit from the use of technology. And one of those technology is GIS, Geographic Information System. What is urban administration? Urban administration is a branch of public administration designated according to Fabi 2016 in an article published in Urban Forum. It defined urban space administration as a branch of public administration designated for ordering, reordering, regulating, and controlling urban systems and urban land uses for the purpose of human comfort, convenience, urban aesthetics, or city branding, and economic and environmental sustainability. This was an offshoot. This definition, according to Fabi 2016, was an offshoot of what Lewis Kibble defined planning in 1966 when he said, "Plan is an art and science of ordering the use of land and siting of building character for the purpose of economic, convenience, and beauty," to achieve economic, convenience, and beauty. So, urban administration, urban space administration, urban land administration, urban space administration, urban management, or urban administration it's aimed at ordering, regulating, and controlling urban systems, urban land uses for the purpose of human comfort or convenience, for urban aesthetics and city branding, or economic or environmental sustainability. This is what town planning offices, urban planning offices, Bureau of Physical Planning, Bureau of Urban Planning in different cities in Nigeria have been engaged in doing. They are to order, reorder, regulate, and control urban systems. Urban system is a system of systems. The system of systems is saying that we have road network systems, drainage systems, water system, drainage system, building system. All of them, they comprise one system is a system of systems. Then enterprise GIS is an architecture, a system architecture that integrates geospatial data and services and share them across organizations, across MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies, or across different departments in a given organization. So enterprise GIS can benefit urban planning, can benefit urban administration. So enterprise GIS provide interface for multi-user access to both spatial and non-spatial data. It can also be viewed as infrastructure that extends and enables existing enterprise systems using geospatial data. It's a model for multi-user and multitasking architecture for sharing data in the offices or multi-sector arrangements. Today, enterprise GIS is implemented using cloud services to host data and share it through GeoPortal. A lot of enterprise GIS in advanced countries have been done by deploying the data and hosting the data in the cloud. And then they can be accessed by all the people that have accessibility code that can access the data. So several data, for instance, planning planning document, the development document for private buildings, private properties are submitted to town planning offices. Town planners will go to the site to verify all the information provided by the developer. And after that, town planner will come and approve the buildings to be built as according to the design. But most of the time, after it is submitted and handed over, a copy is handed over to the developer. Developer can come back anytime to ask for a copy, or when there's any building transaction, someone may want to verify from the planning office the owner, the true owner of the property. And also, in the case of a mortgage, in the case of loan facility that buildings use as collateral, it is possible that the bank will want to verify the document. But most of the time, because of the archiving system in most planning offices, it is so ridiculous that 5 years down the line, the data may not be found in most of our planning offices. But the deployment of enterprise GIS will enable electronic hosting, electronic archiving of this data set, and can be achieved, it can be accessed any time of the day. It can also be implemented apart from the cloud services. Enterprise GIS can also be implemented through site server machine. They can actually have a server machine and data can be distributed in all the zonal town planning offices or all the nodes, all the users, because sometimes the survey department may need the approved scheme, approved building planning scheme, or development plan, or layout that have been developed. The town plan, the survey department may need it, or the Ministry of Works may need it, or the water corporation may need it, or the people that are engaged, Ministry of Environment may need it, people that are involved in laying of pipes may need development plans, because some area that are not yet open up may have development plan. But if they don't have access to this thing electronically, it may be difficult to access and to do their plan on top. So all these ones are necessary. We can also host our data on site through a server machine that will enable the data to be distributed across the networks, across the nodes, and across the other offices that will give differential access to our data. This is the architecture of enterprise GIS. You can have maps and data product. They have map producers, the people that are using the maps. They are here. This one can be other town planning offices in the states, or the rural or the local town planning offices, and these are the generator, the data generator, data producers who are producing the data, who are generating the map, who are archiving the map, who are keeping the map, and then they can distribute, they can send the data to the people who want to use the map, who want to use the plan, who want to access the data that have been generated by the data producer. And then the people at the data center can also source data from the field, like a town planning or a town planning planning officers that go to the site can directly through some devices, ODK or and some other AP Collect, some other devices, some other applications, they can send the data directly from the feed to the data producer, and they can use that one to update and augment the data they're having. They can produce base map also. The base map can be generated and be produced, and then they can publish in the web. They can publish in the web through your portal, and it can be accessed by other people through the cloud hosting. So there are so many benefits of enterprise GIS, deploying enterprise GIS in the deploying enterprise GIS in the urban administration has a lot of benefits in terms of cost. There's a cost benefit because we're going to reduce cost. It's going to the data silo. We are keeping the data in the dustbin after a few years, or you see if you get to some of the town planning offices, you see a junk, very dusty data file room that is not accessible. But when data is kept electronically, the damage to the data is reduced. So there's improved data management. There's a central storage of data. You can have access to all the data base you want. The data accuracy and trust. There's a corporate memory. You can have institutional memory of the data. Institutional memory of the data in the sense that data of 1972, 30 years earlier, you can have the data and the data will remain intact, will remain the same. The quality of the data will not diminish with age. Also, information resources, the ICT can also be used to distribute data. You don't need to carry the data, you don't need to send the data, you don't need to send the file by courier. You can easily use the ICT technology to exchange the data. There's so many opportunities, there's so many advantages of using enterprise GIS to do up to for urban administration. There's a little architecture we propose here for a given GIS integration, enterprise GIS integration, which I call EGIS integration into urban administration. The first thing is that we must have a central database, that's being controlled, that's being managed by database administrator, an efficient database administrator with a GIS expert. They can manage the data and must be able to be a administrator. Server administrator and server manager will be in this enterprise GIS. And then they must connect with physical planning department, exchanging data, submitting data, and receiving data from physical planning department. And then they must connect also with the works department, Ministry of Works department, or the work department in the local government, depending on which arrangement they have. They must be able to negotiate, they must be able to exchange data and submit data and receive data from the Ministry of Works. Then surveying department also need to give them the beacon, the survey information of the area. They must also have the data from survey in their archive. Then the environment and natural resources, all the resources of the available to the state or to the local government or to the urban area, the land resources, underground resources, everything must be available for proper management of the city. Then also emergency response agencies like firefighting, the security personnel, and all those emergency management response agencies, they must also be available. The health facilities, everything that can be that is necessary in case of emergency, in case of disaster, in case of crisis, because urban administration involves all this, everything about the urban systems. We said that the urban administration is about controlling the ordering of urban systems. Then the statistics and economic planning must also provide data to this eGIS for e-governance, enterprise GIS for urban administration. With all this put in place, it is easy for data to be exchanged. Once the data are archived, once data are stored in a central database, it is easy and it is convenient to distribute data across the nodes, across the network, and all the users of data in the ministries, departments, and agencies will be able to use the data properly and efficiently. This is the kind of architecture we are proposing, that the systems are here, and then the firewall to prevent hackers into the system, and then the router will distribute it to all the users in this area. These are the users, or the user can be ministries, different departments, so that all of them have different level of access. Some have access to write, some have access to write into the system, to upload data into the system. Some have some have right to only view the system. Some have right to download the data. So these are some of the things that are useful. So in the GIS hub, which we put here in the GIS hub, which we put here the GIS hub here. So we expect them to have a cartography and remote sensing hub. We need to have a GIS database admin hub, and also we have ICT hub. These are the three critical units that are necessary in the EGIS hub. Most of the urban GIS that have been carried out in Nigeria, some of them fail because these three hubs are not properly integrated. They must speak to each other. They must co-locate for them to be able to efficiently manage the system. The cartography and remote sensing hub. This one will enable maps to be produced, accurate maps, and then data system, data maps, and plans, and also different forms of remote sensing data can be updated regularly through access to remote sensing data. High resolution images can be accessed, data can be extracted by the cartography and remote sensing hub. Then we have the database admin hub. GIS database admin hub must be able to do spatial analysis, to do different scenarios. The EGIS, Enterprise GIS is a laboratory platform through which you can test different scenario of urban systems. If there's a flood of this nature, what will happen to the city? So you can test them using spatial analysis. If there's a viral disaster in the market, what will be the nature of resources that will be at risk? You can also practical, you can model 20-year return period, you can model 30-year return period, you can model 50-year return period. It is the database admin unit that will do all those things, and then the implication of those modeling on the city, we also do it. Then the ICT hub is the unit that will distribute data, that will give different level of access to people, and they can and manage the geoportal through which data can be released to the public. We can also control the kind of data that the public have access to, and then be able to maintain the firewall. And these are the users or different users that of the system. You can keep remote sensing data, high resolution images in our data, and then regularly updating the data in the enterprise GIS. You can also keep vector data, different data planning layout, urban layout, planning scheme, even building drawings. All of them can be kept in the central database. Every department will have their access code, and they have a limit to what they can have access to. You can have a department can have access to specific uh, folder, and that is what they will have. Also, you can have data of modeling which you can use to model. Then, how can we implement this enterprise GIS for urban administration? The first thing you need to do is to set up the GIS server or to host all urban data, or you can use cloud hosting. The difference, the cloud hosting is used by most developed countries because cloud hosting save cost. Cloud hosting, there's no possibility of data losses, and then you are sure that your data is online all the time. But we should also have a mirror local host, because cloud hosting require that you pay every year to access the data, for people to have access to the data. Then the next stage is that you train data generator and data developers, and then you train all data users on different level of access to urban data. And then you deploy data policy and spatial data infrastructure protocol on data use. Test run the EGIS and attend to issues identified. Deploy full implementation of EGIS. I, I will explain further on how we can deploy this enterprise GIS for urban administration in my next edition. I welcome you to subscribe to my channel. We are going to have a very interesting episode in this season, and we are looking at different aspects of urban planning. Urban planners can make use of EGIS and different types of GIS, different types of devices to implement different parts of GIS. Thank you for listening to me. My name again is Seyi Fabiyi. Thank you and God bless.